the Art and Spirituality Show. Welcome, it's November 30th. I'm Dominic Anglim, and on today's show, we have special guest joining us from Madrid. No, joining us from not Madrid, joining us from Spain, joining us from Tarragona in Spain. Canadian, comedian, producer, YouTuber, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and teacher, Tricia Audette. Tricia grew up in Calgary and knew from an early age that she wanted to be a performer. After traveling around the world, she upped six and moved to Spain to become a teacher. Quickly realizing that she wanted to do stand up, she developed a stand up set. Well, let's talk to her right now.
Online, on the iOS and Android, on your mobile phones. Great speakers conversation around the globe. This is Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Relax Radio. The Art and Spirituality Show. My name is Dominic Anglim, and we're joined today via phone by Tricia Audette. Tricia, you're on air with us.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's
I
always
mean,
a pleasure.
you've had such an interesting life. Just going through your introduction there, I skipped over your life pretty quickly, I have to say, because a little bit pushed for time. But I mentioned that you traveled around the world, but you did quite a good bit of traveling, didn't you, before you moved to Spain?
Yeah, I've traveled to I think about 30 countries.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
I kind of forget about all of that, but when you asked me to come on the show, I've been looking at my past and I'm like, oh, I've been to a few places.
Yeah, it's funny how you forget these things, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, let's go back in time. You grew up in Calgary,
yeah.
and when you were growing up, did you know from an early age that you wanted to go into entertainment and things like that?
Yeah, like I definitely always liked entertaining. I called myself an entertainer. I think the teachers called me the class clown.
Yeah.
But
Potato, potato, you know?
yeah, but I was always performing, maybe not at the right time. But yeah, I definitely always enjoyed a bit of attention, a bit of laughter, and putting on shows and performances and finding different characters.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so then
Yeah.
did you kind of, yeah, when you were finishing up with school and stuff like that, was the initial thought to go into studying acting and things like that then?
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? What I was planning on doing was going into journalism. I'm like, if I can get into journalism, I can get into the world of actors, and because I never really believed that I was good at acting, I just wanted to do it. So,
Nothing wrong with that.
so yeah, so I was like, I'll go into journalism, and I'll kind of enter into the world that way.
Yeah.
But at the time, my mom was more of a realist. She was like, accounting's more realistic. You can work from home. You can have a family.
Yep.
And so she really encouraged me to go into accounting, and I did. And I basically hated every minute of it.
I know. I did some accounting as well, and it's yeah, numbers and
Yeah,
me, they just don't really mix. That's for sure. But I mean, I
yeah.
suppose one good thing about doing accounting for you anyway is that it must have given you that business acumen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a bit of a business background going in because when I eventually did get into the world of theater and entertainment, I did it through my own business, through productions and stuff. So I did have a little bit of a knowledge base behind the scenes because I do business and acting. I represent myself. So
Exactly, exactly. And I
yeah,
remember, I mean, me and you, we know each other from Madrid because I used to live in Madrid and you used to live in Madrid. And I accidentally
yeah,
said in the introduction that you're in Madrid, but you're not in Madrid now. You're actually in Tarragona now, isn't that right?
yeah. I'm in Tarragona. So I left Madrid in March. I was there for 9 years,
Yeah.
and actually, I met you when I first started trying out improv classes. So you're one of the first actor friends that I had because I was totally new to the world.
Yes. I don't know why that's a yes moment, but I went with it. I went with it. I remember when you went to those improv classes. I remember going to those improv classes. That was with Mad Improv in Madrid, and
Yeah.
they were just such a laugh, weren't they?
Oh yeah. So many good memories. Like it was every Saturday for 3 hours, was it?
Yeah,
And
3 hours on a Saturday at Fundacion First Team.
yeah, and it was a whole world of people that I didn't even know about.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think my
same.
existence before that was a little bit lonely. I didn't have a lot of friends.
Life before acting was lonely.
Yeah, with I call them the dark days. I can't even look at them anymore.
But I feel like, yeah, I feel like, you're someone who kind of can get quite motivated by things. Like, I know that I remember when we first met, for example, you were raging about this book that you had read, and you said, look, this book, it's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you look at the world. And that was that was by Melody Fletcher. And what was that book again?
I think it was called deliberate receiving.
Deliberate Receiving. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
was a brilliant book, I have to say. It was a really good book because it was very in line with, a lot of the stuff that I was, thinking about as well, which is obviously, the law of attraction and, how you can
yeah,
manifest things into your life and stuff like that. And yeah, it was very in sync, I thought, with,
yeah. My friend Zeus actually gave me that book, and what's fun about that book is that she talks like off the cuff, so she swears a bit. It's just like having a regular conversation. It's not a formally written book. It's
sure.
like literally like shake your head, let's get moving, and it's all about reminding you that we really do play a big role, if not the entire role, in creating our reality.
Exactly.
You know.
So it's so
So
important to be aware of kind of what you're thinking about.
yeah, I'm a self-help book junkie, like, because I get amnesia. It's like I know all these things, and then I'll find myself having like a super pessimistic day, or like projecting experiences that haven't even happened, and preparing myself for like negative outcomes that haven't even happened yet, and I have
Sure.
to constantly remind myself.
Well, it's good. I mean, for me anyway, that's kind of what spirituality is. It's recognizing when you get into a certain thought pattern and being able to kind
Yeah,
of, snap yourself out of it.
yeah. And then when you do, there's always the nice serendipities that give you signs that you're in the right direction. Like I had a
Exactly.
really cool experience this morning. I was listening to your episode with the actress
Karen
Rowan.
Connon.
There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
Karen Connell.
And you were talking about inspiration and Dwayne Dyer, and how inspiration is to inspire, and the conversation that you were having, I literally just read about yesterday. So it's like, wow, this is popping up on my feed again, on my
Nice.
information field. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I love
yeah,
stuff like that. I love stuff like that. So
yeah,
then, yeah, so then I mean, when you went over to Spain, you went over to do teaching, right?
yeah. So I actually, like, I have a degree in education.
Yeah,
Um, because I always wanted to be an actor, but I didn't have a confidence in myself, and I just was like, you know what? There's so much competition. I'll never be able to make it. I just didn't believe in myself, so I became a teacher because teaching's like acting.
it is.
So, right?
Yeah,
And like every day is different, and I need a lot of variety in life. Or I get bored, so like I'll go into teaching, and I can just turn my classrooms into theaters. And so that's exactly what I did. And I came to Spain as a teacher. I didn't want to teach English. I just wanted to teach,
yeah.
and obviously not even really thinking that, well, then I would have to teach English. And I got here, and I was like, not really interested in teaching grammar. So every class to me is just English class doesn't exist. It's all drama.
And you developed
Yes.
these really fun lesson plans where you invented characters and then you would
Yeah.
actually get into these characters, into the costumes, and you developed role plays. I mean, one of them that just pops into my mind right now is Truco the trainer.
Yeah,
That's a
true.
brilliant character.
Yeah, I developed because a lot of my characters developed from real life,
Yeah,
and Truca. People can't say my name here,
right.
so because they don't have the sh sound, so they often call me like Trucha or Truca
Yeah,
or Tracy, and
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I lost my train of thought, but yeah,
yeah. Just
Truca
in
the
terms of
trainer was
Truco
a
the trainer.
wild one. Yeah, I actually ended up doing a show in Madrid with some former students of mine. They were for my show was former students that were in that show,
That was a
like a
great
couple
show.
years after.
I saw that
Yeah, a
show. I
couple
saw
years
the
after.
show. It was a very funny show. It was
Yeah,
a it was it was a great show because it was kind of it kind of had a cabaret feel to it, I think, because it had some sketch comedy in it, but it also had some stand up comedy in it, which was a nice
yeah. Well,
mixture.
yeah. Well, that was because it was a strategy that I used with a couple of shows. Now, as you know, when you're living in Madrid, in the expat community, there's like a ton of talent, but generally everyone has a day job.
Yeah,
And so it's really hard to get together and mesh schedules to rehearse.
big
And
time.
so I started doing these shows where my sketches would be with one person. And so no one in the show needed to even know each other because they weren't performing together. They were just performing with me. And then
Yeah,
put like a comedian to transition in between the two sketches or to just bring more content because maybe I didn't have enough material and I wanted to present present the content through someone else's vision and idea. So there'd be poetry sometimes too,
yep.
dancing. There was dancing in that show.
There was dancing. That's true. There was a really good dancer in that show. That's very true. Was he a former
Yeah, and
student as well?
he was a former student of mine for 2 years, and
Yeah,
we're still in touch. Actually, his class is one of my favorite classes. His name was Sergio, and this was in Mostoles.
yeah,
And I met him he was in Bachillerato, and this class had 16 students, and I was an auxiliary at this time,
yeah,
and I worked with this class twice a week. Now, my classes are all like very theatrical, very interactive, and maybe not something that all students are used to.
yeah.
And often students are very shy speaking another language. So at the beginning of the year, everyone in that classroom was super shy and like maybe even scared of me. And by January, everything I asked turned into a show. And I'm like, I'm just asking a question. Like they all came out of their shells. It was a magical experience, I have to say, to
Yeah,
see how like if you really stick to be consistent and keep at it. It only takes a couple months to get the students interested and on your team. They just have to break through their fear a little bit.
definitely, definitely. And I love that approach to teaching, kind of, building rapport with your students and then
Yeah,
getting them to go out of their comfort zone and do something that they might not necessarily have even done in their own language, like something like theater.
totally, totally. And I think that when it comes to speaking another language, people often get caught up on speaking perfect. I see that a lot in Spain. People
Yeah,
say, "Oh, my English is no good," after they've been talking to me for 10 minutes, and like I understand everything you're saying. Like
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
I'm more interested in different ways of speaking than you speaking perfectly grammatically correct. Like
Bueno,
languages can be artistic too.
bueno, da igual en español también, ¿no? Es que
Sí,
es cuando
yeah, yeah,
es cuando la gente dice que no, yo no puedo hablar en español porque no estoy perfecto, tío. Pero bueno,
yeah, yeah.
estamos hablando ya. We're already
Eso
speaking,
es.
so like, what's the problem, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I get a lot of laughs in speaking Spanish with my mistakes
Yeah,
because people are like, "Oh, they think it's funny," and because I'm fully fine with laughing at myself. I just want people laughing. I don't really have a problem with it. But
yeah.
yeah, sometimes you say things in a way that's never been said. People enjoy it. It's something different to listen to.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's honest and it kind of, as you say, if you're okay with laughing at yourself and you're okay with making mistakes, I think then
Yeah,
you open yourself up to to getting feedback and learning and ultimately improving, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, folks, we're talking to Tricia Audette here. She's a Canadian comedian, producer, entrepreneur, YouTuber. She's based over in Spain. And if you have any questions for Tricia, you can give a message or a call in to the studio line, which is 078 And yeah, we're just going to take a short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Please join us then. Relax Radio. Whoa, relax Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio. Welcome back to the show, the Art and Spirituality Show. It's Monday, the 30th of November, and here we are. We're at our studio in London, in Bow Road in London, and I should say Roman Road. We're on Roman Road in London at Relax Radio, and we're joined via phone by a Canadian comedian, Tricia Audette. Tricia Audette, you're back on air with us.
Hey, hey.
Hey, 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 hey. No, it's great. It's great to talk to you. I mean, I should say to the listeners, myself and Tricia, we're very old friends. We met in Madrid, going back 6 years ago now, and we've performed
At least.
together. We've done a lot of different projects together, and we're just good friends, aren't we?
Yeah, we go way back. I think that even maybe longer than 6 years. Is that when we met in improv?
Could it be longer than 6 years? I mean, I don't think it could be because I feel like we met at the beginning of Mad Improv, which was
Right.
which started in January 2014. So that would be I guess that would be nearly 7 years ago
Yeah.
because it's
Wow.
nearly January 2021. So maybe it's about 7 years. Maybe it's about 7 years,
Yeah.
más o
I've
menos,
actually
more or less.
I've discovered a lot of material through our friendship. You're-
Good. I'm glad that knowing me has brought a lot of comedy to your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're my go-to person when I'm like in a stump or feeling low. I just call you for my pickup. You should give the listeners your phone number. You can be the pickup guy.
Just call me Agony Ant. Agony Ant Dom. Just ring me up whenever you like, and I'll listen to your problems. No problem.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think we all bounce off each other, and I think that's one of the kind of beauties about a creative community. You start to soundboard ideas, you start to collaborate on projects, and you start creating things. You start creating art,
Yeah.
which is the beautiful thing about being an artist is being able to follow your passion, right?
Yeah, and it's great to be in a community of people that understand you and get your experiences and the highs and the lows because there's so many adrenaline rushes, but there's so many low moments too where you're like, ah,
100%, 100%. I think the life of an artist, and it's it is a stereotype as well because you think about the famous painters and things like that, and oftentimes the famous writers, they led a
mm,
life of struggle. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
when we read their work, we're like, oh, this work is so poignant, like it's got such richness to it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
because they were struggling in life, and that's where the
yeah,
richness came from. So I think that's
yeah.
it's something that's overlooked a lot for artists, and I think that's why the arts are so important, and it's so important that the arts are supported.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people have this idea of overnight sensation. I remember listening to an interview with I think her name's Rachel, the fight song. She I was listening to her in an interview and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, how does it feel to be an overnight sensation?" She's like, "Well, I'm not. I've been working for 14 years at this. I'm just I'm just new to the world, but I'm not new to the game, you know?"
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. Well, does that really cool photo, isn't there, where you see like, on one side it's kind of I think it's like an iceberg or something, and on the top you see like the
Mhm.
awards, the medals, and all this kind of stuff, and then on the bottom you see like all the hard work that people don't see, right? And
Yeah.
that's I think that's the same for same for sports people, same for anyone who's kind of working to achieve things. People don't always see the all the practice that goes into it and stuff like that, the kind of behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, the behind the scenes and then also the fighting off of the negative energies. Like there's a lot of quotes that go around like the starving artist and stuff. It's like, "No, let's not give any energy to that."
Yeah, no, the well-fed artist.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I have to say, I was always very impressed by your entrepreneurial spirit, and I was always very impressed by your powers of promotion and things. I mean, even for example,
Oh,
your YouTube channel, like you've got a YouTube channel, and how many subscribers do you have right now?
so I started
Over
a
a
YouTube
hundred,
channel.
anyway.
Well, there's 150, so I'm not
That's
up there.
amazing.
I'm not up there yet because there's just 1 0. But to be honest with you,
It's good
the
though.
process, yeah, the process of making the videos is so much fun that it's rewarding in itself.
Yeah, yeah, I love your videos. They're so funny, and I think you're great at kind of putting yourself out there and just being silly, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I think laughing at yourself is the key. I tend to a lot of my comedy tends to be making fun of myself
Yeah,
or my ways of seeing.
yeah,
But it's honest. Like I can stand behind all of it.
yeah, and it's so important and in comedy to be able to go on stage and be truthful and tell real things about your life, or to tell real outlooks that you actually have, so that you can stand behind
Mhm.
the comedy, stand behind what you're
Yeah.
saying, stand behind the words, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about Tringlish.
Let's talk about Tringlish.
Tringlish is I mean, first of all, Tringlish, where did the name come from? Tringlish. Where did that name come from? It's such an odd name.
So a lot of people think that it means like Trisha English,
Yeah,
but
that's
in
what I
fact,
thought.
yeah, but in fact, so it comes from something much, well, not necessarily much different, but when I was 18, I had a boyfriend. When he couldn't understand me, he'd say, "You're speaking Tringlish." So it wasn't that I was speaking English, I was speaking my own language that he called Tringlish.
Right.
And I think Tringlish actually exists in Trinidad. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like there is a language called Tringlish.
Okay.
Probably should look into that if I have a business called that. But anyways, somebody owns the
Note to
tringlish.com,
self.
so to self research. No, so basically, when I started Tringlish, it wasn't about teaching English. It was about a different language, which to me was about teaching English in a different way. And I don't propose that teaching through entertainment is like some new original concept,
Sure.
but just a style that I use to teach people because I didn't want to teach English. I want to entertain, so I can
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
do jokes and perform in the class, but make it more interactive. So it's not about me, but if I bring comedy, people really let down their guards and they come out of their shells. And I've been to schools with like 100 students,
Yeah.
and the teachers will tell me after, like, how did you get this student on stage? He's the shyest student or she in my class.
Yeah.
And I get them to come up on stage and do stuff. And comedy
Brilliant.
is the way, and it gets people standing up, breaks the ice.
Yeah, comedy definitely breaks the ice. That's for sure. That's for sure. And so
Yeah.
Tringlish was born, and
Yeah.
you were originally doing shows for Oxford.
Yeah, so that's how I started working in schools. I would go around when schools bought books, they would send me as a gift. So I'm somebody's gift. No, but they have various speakers.
Yeah.
And so I was meant to go give presentations on like London and Scotland, and the presentations didn't speak to me because never lived in Scotland. I'd never even been there.
Yeah.
So I started making my own, and I've always been a person who's, just it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So I just started doing my own presentations
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
turned into like storytelling, which eventually became shows, and eventually obviously they knew and they enjoyed it. The feedback was good,
Yeah.
and I just started building up my confidence.
The first
And
show that you put together was the box, right?
yeah, the very first show I wrote was called The Box, and it was based on my life. That wasn't with Oxford, that was with Tringlish.
Yeah.
And it was um I was working in the education system still, and I just having a hard time finding my place. And so I just said one day, I'm leaving. I'll give you 1 week's notice or 2 weeks notice to find a replacement, and then I'm gonna come back and do a show in 2 weeks. And they were very supportive. I'm like, okay. And I had 2 weeks to create a show, and I couldn't come up with the show. It was super like blocked. I'd never written a show before, so I
Yeah.
went and bought an office chair, and it came in a box, and then literally wrote the show like in one night.
And the show is hilarious, by the way, folks. It's really really funny show, and I think some of the photos that you did for it as well were really 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 good as well. And yeah, it's just I mean to give people a little bit of background about the show. Essentially, it's a motivational speech, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about being outside the box.
Yeah.
So it's a visual experience for people that even if they don't speak English, they can understand. I use a projector so that I can have some more visuals to complement the show. But the idea is that even if you don't understand English,
Yeah.
that you can understand the concept of to be outside the box and all the possibilities that are outside the box.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I mean, it was a great show. You toured, you went all over Spain with it.
Yeah, and it was my first as it was my first show, and I'm not a trained actor. I'm sure there was lots of sloppy moments in it, but
Yeah,
I think I got away with a lot of the sloppy moments. I mean, I didn't sell myself as a classically trained artist. I didn't play a character. I was just myself in the show.
yeah, which was good, and I think that really worked. And I remember, you were getting repeat shows, and schools were calling you back, and also kind of language learning centers for older students. You're also doing the talks there as well at like kind of young adult centers as well, right?
Yeah, La Escuela Oficial de Idiomas. They were my favorite audience.
Yeah,
Because in high schools, there's a bit of classroom control to do, where in the adult schools,
sure.
they're they uh they they they're nervous, but they get on stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at some point then, I guess you started to kind of start to make the crossover from doing, your daytime shows into doing nighttime shows and doing more kind of based around comedy sketch that you were going to do, in theaters, right?
Yeah, it was actually a very organic process. So, I mean, I didn't set out to be an entertainer. I never believed that I could, and things just started happening, just lining up for me. And the stand up just fell in my lap one day at Mad Improv. Jonathan and Mitch, a couple of fellows in the scene, were starting an open mic. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, you want to try stand up?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And they made a flyer for their show and they put my photo on it and they're like, "Well, in case you change your mind, can do you like this photo?" And I was like, "Well, I like my photo on the flyer. I, I better I better do the show." And well, as you know, what the first time you do stand up, you're hooked. Like it's better than crack, man.
Yeah, better than the crack in walls that we see, because this is a
Yeah,
daytime show. So yeah.
yeah. No, but I mean, what I mean to say is just like super addictive. Like it's an adrenaline rush, and it's just it really hooks you the first time.
Yes, like cracks in walls always hook you. As you're walking by, you catch your clothes
Yeah,
on them, and you're like, "Oh, this
yeah,
crack in the wall is so addictive." Yes, indeed,
yeah.
indeed.
Or in the sidewalks. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, yeah, see that kind of got you started with the stand up. But I mean, it was a really quick turnaround. I remember, I mean, I was doing shows myself at the time, and I remember
Mm.
quickly starting to see your characters kind of coming out. And you developed one of the first characters I remember you developing was a character called Tammy.
Yeah. Tam Tammy's my cousin from somewhere down south. Nobody know where she's from, but
Is
she
Tammy in the house? Do we have Tammy?
yeah, Tammy's here, but she's in the kitchen cooking up some real fancy delights, you see.
What's she cooking? What's she cooking?
A bull poopy pie, Dom, a bull poopy pie.
Folks, we're talking to Tricia Audette, Canadian comedian, producer, YouTuber, producer, and yeah, very very funny woman. And we're going to be talking to her more after this short break. So please come back and join us then for more art and spirituality. We'll be right back after these messages for more from Tammy. Tammy, are you still there?
Tammy,
Tammy,
Tammy's here.
join us after these messages. Thanks.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio. আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to the Art and Spirituality Show. I'm Dominic Anglim, and we're joined today by Canadian comedian Tricia Audette. Tricia, you're back on air with us.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good to have you back. We actually
Good to be here.
received a question from Jen out in California, and Jen would like to
Ah,
know. She would like to know if you've had to adapt much this year with regards to working. Have you had to adapt much? And she also wants to hear a little bit more about your creating path. Your creating path. So I guess there's two questions there. One question is have you had to adapt much this year? And the other question is she wants to know a little bit more about your creating path. I suppose how you become inspired and things like that.
okay. So, good questions.
Yeah.
First of all, um, this year's been an interesting year because I have to say that until recently, I was creatively blocked
Yeah.
for the most part of the year. Um, so I was a little bit off kilter because with everything going on, Tringlish, with Tringlish, I do school shows,
Yeah.
and so that's obviously on hold. So as for getting on stage and being out there and doing shows, there hasn't been that. So it's been a tricky balance because I am my business and my career is so part of who I am. It's been hard finding the balance of who am I now and feeling lost.
Yeah.
But about a month or two ago, I suddenly got all my creativity back. I started a new YouTube channel and I started using comedy and entertainment to stimulate thinking and conversations.
Brilliant,
So
brilliant. And
so so
new sorry to interrupt you, but the new YouTube channel, what's the can our
it
listeners check that out?
it's called TYF Comedy.
TYF comedy. So Tango
Yeah,
Yankee Foxtrot comedy. Yep.
yeah. Well, it stands for Trisha E Fernando because E is and. But anyways, that's probably now very complicated on the radio. TYF, yeah. And so I started that about a week or two ago, and it's a bilingual channel.
Great.
So right now the videos are in Spanish with English subtitles, but I'll do some English ones with Spanish subtitles so that we can, you know, cater to both languages.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but yeah, so it's been an interesting year. I have to say that it's not been in vain. I've really enjoyed the process and I've learned a lot about myself as an artist.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling really good with where I'm at and how I've got here. So it's been an interesting year. I haven't created a lot, but now I'm on full adrenaline mode. You know, when I get into these adrenaline modes, it's like boom, boom, boom. Like you can't sleep because there's just ideas coming at you.
I do
And as
indeed.
for my process, yeah, as for my process, it's super backwards. So normally what I do is I come up with a concept, an idea for the show, and I do the name and the ad, and I book the theater, and I have a date,
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 weeks in the future, and then I start promoting it, and then I'm writing as I'm promoting. So what as I'm promoting the show's sometimes not even written. Because I need a deadline. And so without a deadline, just I'm writing a show for the sake of writing a show. It's a very slow process. I'm doing it right now. We're writing a show called Gazpacho and Syrup,
Yeah.
and because there's no fixed date, for me it's hard to commit to, okay, I'm gonna work today from 10 to 2. So as soon as the bars are up and running where I am and I can book one, I will, and it'll be like 2 or 3 weeks in advance, and then I'll get down to it.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, I think the best thing of all, about your system is that it works.
Yeah.
That's the way you've always created shows, and that's what works for you. So you just got to keep doing what works. And I mean, I just wanted to highlight some of the shows that you have created over the years. Close Encounters was the kind of first two-person sketch show which you co-wrote with somebody else, and that was a brilliant show that you ran that. I think you ran that. I want to say I think you had that on for at least a week in one venue.
Yeah, well, we ran that show 3 times. So I did that show with Jackie from Mad Improv,
Yeah,
and actually, a lot of the content she had from her early career, like from writings and stuff like that, But yeah, that was the very first sketch show I co-wrote, and we did it 3 times. And that was basically my start in sketch comedy. And since then, that's been my two loves: sketch comedy and stand up.
Yeah, and I know that you've written Baby was was another show as well, which ran in Teatro de los Aguas in Madrid. Um,
Yeah, and it was also in an Escondite, so that was a micro theater. You guys do micro theater in London, obviously too, no?
yeah, I'm sure there must be micro theater here. There must be.
Yeah,
I would say, yeah. I would say. I mean, I don't know, but I would say there must be. There must be. I mean, it must be a
yeah, and that
global. It
because
must
that
be a global thing. I would have thought.
yeah, I would imagine that show is 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then we also had maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. I think was the show that kind of has run for the longest, and with lots of different
Yeah,
cast members as well.
yeah, maybe it's you. Has been a wonderful experience with Jonathan Borello. So we wrote that show back in maybe 2017 or 2016.
Yeah,
He's brilliant. Like, he's a lot of brains behind that script. But he left Madrid shortly after, so we did that show 1 time.
yeah.
So then I did it 2 or 3 times with Jackie, and then several times with Adrian. And so
With
it's been interesting doing the same show with 3 different actors.
with Adrian Randall, yeah, and you also collaborated
Yeah.
with Adrian Randall for Big Kids, right?
Yeah, so we wrote a kids sketch show.
That was a lot of fun.
Y-
I remember giving you guys
Oh,
feedback on that when you were developing it. It's a very funny
you
show.
you were at the very first show. In fact, that show isn't even written down. We wrote it, and then when we started rehearsing it, we realized that the text was way too challenging for English as a second language because
Yeah,
it's meant for primary school.
yeah,
So then, after spending all this time writing it in the rehearsals, we had to completely change the whole script. And I don't think it's written down anywhere. And Close Encounters also is not written down anywhere. When we rehearse it, it was just we obviously you have the concept and you have the same jokes that keep popping up, but
yeah.
there was no like hard script that we had to stick to. Some things we ended up sticking to, but yeah, every time we rehearsed it was a different result.
But I think that's great. You know, when you have that kind of rapport with a creative partner, with someone that you're collaborating with on projects, you can kind of, yeah, you can kind of, it becomes quite organic and things can change, but you know that it's still going to be a good show because the other person's going to be there, you know?
Yeah, and you trust your partner on stage.
You trust your partner on stage. Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
I left Adrian hanging one time because so we were always obviously transitioning every 5 to 7 minutes characters,
Yeah.
and I jumped ahead of sketch, so I came out around the curtain as a character in the wrong scene
By
and
accident.
by accident, and
Yeah.
he had to maintain the audience in a silent sketch. It was a sketch where there was no speaking. It
Yeah.
was all mime.
Yeah.
Oh, for a good 30, 45 seconds at least.
Yeah. But he's
But
a total pro. He's a total
he
pro. So I'm
he's
sure he did a
he's a
great job.
he's a total pro, and I'm very grateful that it happened to him, not me, because I don't know if I would have handled it so well. That I don't know if people knew that I made the mistake or not.
They probably didn't. They probably didn't, you know, like if you just continue on as if nothing's happened, as if nothing's gone wrong, which is what you're always trained to do in acting and comedy and
Yeah,
things, you know, then of course the audience doesn't know. So yeah, they probably
yeah,
didn't know. They probably didn't know. So Big Kids was great. Big Kids ran for a while and you did a bunch of different shows in lots of different schools. And then I guess it just kind of disbanded after a while, maybe with the show bookings with things like that.
yeah. I mean, this past the last school year, I was all revved to like go go go.
Yeah.
Um, but then everything kind of obviously went on a standstill, and my whole direction changed.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about TYF comedy, right? TYF.
Mm,
Let's talk
yeah.
about TYF comedy because you met Fernando Garcia Torres, who is
Hmm.
the F of the TYF. We should point that out
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people that don't know. You met Fernando. because he was. I think the story goes he was planning on doing some comedy in New York. And listeners, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, Fernando is a famous Spanish comedian, a very well known Spanish comedian, and very funny guy, very funny guy. And yeah, so he was getting ready to go off and do some stand up in New York, and I guess he knew about you from the scene, and he asked for a little bit of coaching, right?
Yeah, well, he didn't reach out for coaching. He just wanted to get on an open mic. So at the time was running Stand Up Yours
Yeah,
with Claire Jones in Teatro de las Aguas,
yeah,
and so he reached out to rehearse his sets, and so he came and did his sets in the cave
in the
before
cave.
going to New York. Yeah,
In
to
Teatro de los
practice.
Aguas. By the way, folks, Teatro de los Aguas is this really cool theater in La Latina in Madrid, where basically you've got, I think they have two theaters. They have a theater on the ground level, and then if you go downstairs, there's a smaller kind of, as we like to call it, the cave. The cave. It's kind of like
Yeah,
this. It's a cool venue,
yeah,
actually.
it's a great venue, and they have a theater upstairs. We did Baby It's You there. We did Big Kids there.
Yeah,
I did Grease there. Remember the Spanish show?
I do remember that show. Yeah, I actually have forgotten about it, but now that you say it, I'm remembering it.
Yeah. And then the cave downstairs as well. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's a really cool venue. And yeah, so he came out to practice his set there. Stand up yours is something that we haven't talked about yet, which was a something that I guess was originally started with Jonathan Barello as well, who you
yeah,
collaborated with for Maybe It's You. And initially it was yourself and Jonathan Barello and Claire Jones, right?
yeah, yeah. So Jonathan brought that to the table. Oh, like I don't know, in 2016 or 2017.
Yeah.
He was there for the first few months and then he left. And then Claire and I continued it for we did 3 seasons,
Yeah.
and it was such a wonderful experience. It was so nice knowing that every week you have a show to do. You're not looking to someone's show and like, oh, sometimes that can happen with open mic. You have to find a show to be a part of. And I like the whole concept of make your own show. And then, you've always got stage time every week because the stage time is what keeps us creative, for me,
Absolutely.
anyways.
Absolutely. If you don't have a stage, create one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. That's how I end one of my shows. Like, if you don't have a stage, build your own.
Build your own.
And then
If you
you have
build
your
it, they
stage.
will come.
Yeah, yeah, and they do, right?
They really do. They really do.
Mm.
So that was great. So that's how you met Fernando. And I mean, Fernando. Then, of course, your relationship kind of changed over time, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. So I met him through stand up. And he eventually invited me to his show, Lo que sé de las mujeres, or what I know about women, La Chocita and Gran Dia.
Yeah,
And then after that show, I was like, hey, come back and do our show again. And I was kind of like flirting with him in what I felt to be obvious ways, but he wasn't picking up what I was laying down, like at all.
yeah.
And and we made a YouTube video together, and then yeah, eventually one thing led to another, and we got married.
And that's love, folks. That is love.
That's love.
That's how love
Actually,
works.
I manifested that.
You had that on one of your vision boards.
Well, I had it in my journal. So if you read my journal, I can read it to you live right now if you want. But I was literally when I would, if anyone were to find my journal, they would think that I'm crazy because I'm not talking about my everyday life. I'm talking about the things that I want as though I already have them. And so
Yes.
maybe someone would find it and they'd be like, "Wow, she's got a yacht and she hangs out with Madonna. I didn't even know." Just like so I would write in my journal like, "Oh, I love my husband. We create shows together. We're creative." Like I really really wanted to end up with an artist
Yeah.
because I just didn't see myself identifying with, say, with a man in a suit and tie. Not that there's anything wrong with that career, but I wanted to have a flexible life with someone where we're not, tied down Monday to Friday. We can move around, we can create together,
Yep.
and we can. I like having my own schedule. That I'm not. Oh, I just have Christmas or I just have a week in the summer. I like having that freedom. and so obviously want to partner with that freedom as well. And yeah, so he's exactly what I had asked for,
Exactly,
literally.
exactly what you would ask for, literally. I love that.
Yeah.
Folks, we're going to take a short break. Please join us after the break. And if you have any other questions, we've had one question so far from Jen in California. If you have any other questions, you can send them in on 078 524 73473. We're talking to Tricia Audette, Canadian comedian, producer, YouTuber, and entrepreneur extraordinaire. And we'll be right back after these short messages. Please join us then.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
The Art and Spirituality Show. Well, this is November 30th, and we're joined by Tricia Audette, joining us via phone from Tarragona in Spain. Hi, Tricia.
Hey, Dom.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
great. Such a nice conversation. It's really nice to talk all about your past projects and your current projects, because TFI comedy is something that you've been developing for the last probably year and a half, if not kind of 2 years, would you say?
A year and a half, actually. I remember
Yeah,
it was July 7th, 2019.
nice.
And I was like, by this time, Fernando and I are dating.
Yeah.
Dating, well, not dating. We were together in a exclusive relationship. And I said, let's do a show in Canada. So I booked, because you know how I like to do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
so we started writing July 7th, 2019, and booked the venue and the tickets to go to Canada
yeah,
for September 7th. So we had like 6 weeks.
yeah,
We did the Camino Santiago, and we're writing and rehearsing there. And yeah, and then once the show, he wanted to propose the show to La Chocita, but he wanted to have the show written before proposing it.
yeah.
So once it was written, he proposed it to La Chocita and Gran Via, and we started there in October.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a brilliant show. I hear. I never actually got to see the show. I never saw the show.
Yeah.
I think I may have left. I
So
might have actually been gone at that point. I think I had left Spain by that point.
You were gone, yeah, and the show has been an interesting experience because Fernando has a lower intermediate level of English.
Yeah.
So often we're planning things in Spanish, and but we're using his English level in the show. So his character, he always plays the Spanish character, and I always play the foreigner, obviously. And
Yeah.
the idea of the show is to just really get more Spanish people coming out, and so they can understand him better than they can understand me,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
wanted to like really just expand the market because, as you know, producing English shows in Spain, in Madrid, you can get an audience out of 30, 40, 50 people, but there's 4 million people that live there, right? So it's
Exactly.
just trying
Exactly.
to like expand the market for the entire community, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so much talent in Madrid. There's so many shows on that let's get some more people involved. And yeah, so that ran until March when things closed down, and we're just waiting for things to pick back up again to get going. So we've written some new sketches and we've changed the concept to be kind of like an improv show in that
Yeah.
it's not improvised, but we have so many sketches that the audience picks the sketches so we can get repeat audience.
Nice. 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 And I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm so confident in your ability to make that show a success. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said it before and I'll say it again. You're so impressive when it comes to marketing and your business acumen is second to none. You know.
Thank you, Dom. Yeah, I always wonder like if my marketing is just annoying, but it seems
Well, all marketing is annoying. That's the point of marketing.
I'm
It's
like
like, you know.
I'm like have I annoyed people enough today? But they say, people need to see something 7 times before they pay attention. So I'll just make sure they see it 20 times. But I do certainly like put a lot of effort into creative marketing. So I'd like to think that it would be more interesting to follow, but people don't interact. So maybe it's not, or maybe they just,
No, I
I
think it
don't know
is.
how to
I
get
think
people.
it is. I mean, I remember you were probably one of the first. I mean, there's so many shows going on in Madrid, and indeed there was, 5 or 6 years ago as well. But I remember you were one
Yeah.
of the first who did a video as a kind of a way to promote the show. You did this video, and I remember you got a lot more traffic to your event
Mm,
page at the time. You got a lot more interactions, and then yeah, I thought that was quite pioneering, to use a video to advertise your show, which now it's okay, now it's a no brainer in 2020, nearly 2021,
yeah.
but like in 2016, it was kind of like, oh, people weren't doing that. People were just putting out the kind of standard flyer, come to our show, we'll give you a free drink kind of jazz.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. You know what? I think that I try to give people something that motivates them to come. So the promo is also creativity as well. So
Yeah,
trying to find ways to get people laughing so that it's not, just seeing an ad, but seeing something that made them laugh or made them smile, that at least they can take something away from it, even if they don't come to the show. Because comedy for me has always been about lifting vibrations.
definitely, definitely. And I'm
But
curious.
promo can
Sorry, go on.
No, but promo can also be disheartening too because I've spent sometimes every day in a month promoing, and then the show night comes and there's 20 people there, which is great. I'm happy with 20 people. I'm happy with 10 people, but you feel like, wow, I mean, is nobody listening? you know?
Well, you see, like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When you get 20 people and you're like, why isn't there 200 people here or 2,000 people here?
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, as you say, like, when you're putting all this energy into promoting, you want to get back, what you're putting in. But I think that is literally the
Yes.
nature of live theater, especially in,
Yeah.
especially in a city as large as Madrid. What's the population in Madrid? It's very,
Yeah.
very high. I think it might even be 12 million, or maybe that's
Well,
Spain.
no, it's a no. So Madrid's like 3.5 or 4 million, but
Okay.
then I believe with the greater area, because all the cities of 200,000, there's so many of them. I
Yeah.
think it comes to around 7 million, and then once you include like all the tourists and the illegal immigrants and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. Which there are a lot of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah. But
Absolutely.
yeah, actually, I've discovered that it's not really about the quantity, anyways. I've done shows with 10 people that I've enjoyed way more than a show with 50 people. It just depends on the audience. You don't need a big audience to have a good time.
That's true. That's true. And actually, sometimes the shows that have a smaller audience, like 20 people or 15 people, they can be more intimate, and you can have a bit of a better buzz with the audience because you're interacting with them more on a kind of a one-to-one basis versus a larger
Y-
show where it's kind of, you're directing your comments out to a kind of mass of faces, rather
Yeah,
than speaking to people individually. So yeah,
yeah,
I think that's a,
absolutely.
a good way to look at it. So yeah, so yeah, I just have a couple more questions for you because we're just running out of time very quickly here. But I just
Hmm.
wanted to ask you, if you considered yourself to be spiritual.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't always use the word spiritual. I think sometimes people confuse what spirituality is.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah, absolutely.
what does spirituality mean to you? What is being spiritual? What does that mean to you?
For me, it's about being consciously aware of myself, my thoughts, my feelings, my reactions, being in touch with my higher self,
Yeah.
um, listening to my body, listening to my gut, listening to my heart, being aware of energies, um, you know, and being in touch with your
Intuition.
passion and yeah, with your intuition and your passion and yeah, just knowing that there's something bigger than me out there, but I'm also a big part of it. The one person can actually make a lot of waves and a lot of movements, and that we're not just one tiny person on the planet. We're all impactful. We're all capable of impact.
Definitely.
Making an impact? Yeah.
Definitely. 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 You got to be the change, right? Like what Gandhi says.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's so nice to talk to you about these sorts of things because I know we have a similar way of thinking, especially when it comes to vibrations and stuff like that, and putting out the right
Yeah.
vibe. And I have to say, I was so grateful when I asked you to do the show, and you were like, you were on board with it because I knew that the show, the vibration of the show would be higher with you on it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, thanks. Yeah, and I knew it would lift up my day.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
And
we'll
they're so connected. It's great that you have this show because art and spirituality are really connected. And I think if you're connected to your spirituality, then you can really amp up your artistic side.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. That's exactly true. That's exactly true. Because I think the more you connect with yourself, the more creative you're going to become, and the more in tune with yourself you're going to be.
Yeah,
Which
and the more authentic your art is, the more authentic people it attracts.
definitely, yeah, that's for sure true. That's for sure true. Trisha, it's been so great talking to you today. We will definitely put all of your links and all of your socials.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm sure Harry, our station tech, I'm sure he's been putting in lots of different little bits of information as we've been today.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I look forward to checking it TYF comedy on YouTube and seeing future YouTube videos from you guys as well in the future.
Yeah, and good luck with your show. I'm super excited that this platform exists and that's what your focus is and it's just bringing such good energy to so many people. So thank you for being Dom.
Thanks, Trisha. Hey, listen, we'll get you on the show again. Yeah, I'd love to have you on again and just
Absolutely.
just talking art and spirituality, right?
Absolutely. I would love to be back. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Trisha. Give my best to Fernando. Okay.
Okay, take care.
Okay. See ya. Ciao. 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 Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. That was Tricia Audette. Joined us via phone there. Such an inspiring person to talk to. Do you ever have that with friends or with it's mainly friends. It can be family as well, but people who just vibe. They have a high vibe. And when you talk to them, after you talk to them, you feel uplifted. That is definitely the vibe that I get after I speak with Tricia Audette. So yeah, if you're looking to raise your vibe, check out Tricia Audette's YouTube channel. It's very funny. There's a lot of videos on there. which will make you laugh, which in these times, that we live in, that's what we want, right? We want to find a little bit of laughter, a little bit of joy, and a little bit of some smiles. We need some smiles, don't we? We need some smiles in this day and age, wherever we can find them. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this for more art and spirituality. Please join us then. Thanks.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
The Art and Spirituality Show. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me today on this cold, bitterly cold November day. It's a Monday. It's Monday, and it's cold outside. Ooh, brr. I'm happy to be in my warm studio, I have to say. What is going on with you right now? Where are you? What are you up to? What are you doing? Are you working? Are you at home? Are you doing a bit of gardening? Probably not doing any gardening. It's pretty cold out there. Love to hear from you. Find out what you're up to. Give me a call. Give me a message. You can reach me as always on 078 52 473 473. And we've got the radio open right now. We're doing the shows. We're coming out of lockdown in the next couple of days, but we're still coming in and we're still doing the shows, which is great. I've just got a lovely message from my friend Scott Cleverdon in Madrid, and he's an acting coach himself and Assumpta Serna are acting coaches. Assumpta, of course, is a famous Spanish actress, brilliant actress, and Scott is an actor as well. And he's just sent me a lovely message, and he just said, "You need us on your show." You need us on your show. I do need you on your show. You're right. I've got to get you on your show. You've got to come on the show, Scott Cleverton. So yes, you'll have to. We'll have to get you on the show as soon as we can and talk all good things about acting, about creating art, and about the life of an actor, the life of an artist. They're based in Madrid actually, and their acting school is Fundación First Team. I had the pleasure of studying with them. In 2018, right before I left España, right before I left Spain. I had gotten a part in a film, and I did some training. I did some acting for camera training with them, and it was a lovely time, I have to say, to be focusing on something that I love, to be putting some time and some energy into training in something that I'm passionate about. Are you doing any courses right now? Are you reading any books? Are you putting any energy into something that you're passionate about? That's my question. It's a big question, and I'd love to know your thoughts. What are you doing right now? Are you on the treadmill of life, the hamster wheel, running, 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 running? Gotta go to work. Gotta get up. Gotta brush my teeth. Gotta wash my hair. Gotta make my breakfast. Gotta go to work. Running, 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 running. Or have you stopped? Have you realized, hey, there's more to life than being on this hamster wheel? I want to jump off the wheel, and I want to disconnect from the matrix. The matrix, right? The internet, the phone, the laptop, the emails, the notification bell that goes off anytime we get a tweet message or an Instagram like. How often are you disconnecting from these things and reconnecting with yourself? How often are you doing that? Because I would like to raise the thought that perhaps you could do it more. Perhaps you could take 5 minutes out of your day to just sit and be still. No internet, no phone, disconnect, close your eyes, and stop talking. Just stop the mind chatter that's on autoplay. We have autoplay here in the radio station. You know, when there's no presenters in here, we press autoplay and the old shows play on rotation. And you know, we have autoplay on in our minds the whole time. And I think it's so important to press stop on the autoplay. And meditation is great. Meditation is something which can help us to do that, to stop the mind chatter. And I think that's why they give you, you know, with the meditation, I think that's why they give you the breathing techniques, because it gives your mind something to focus on. Breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it, breathe out for 5 seconds, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it, breathe out for 5 seconds. You know, it gives your mind something to focus on other than the hamster wheel, other than thinking about the future, you know, thinking about the past. It gets you into the present moment. A great book that I was recommended recently by a good friend of mine, Tom, over in Madrid, who actually teaches mindfulness. He recommended that I check this book out. We were talking about it actually. We were talking about it in detail. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to send you this book. I'm going to send you a copy of this book because it's all very well talking about it. But the best thing is going to be is if you have a copy of it yourself. And that book is called Radical Compassion. Radical Compassion, and it's written by a mindfulness teacher called Tara Brach. Tara Brach, Brach. Tara Brach. Radical Compassion. It's a great name, isn't it? Radical Compassion. I mean, surely the idea of being radical, normally, you know, you think, okay, radicalization, okay, that's not good, right? Maybe your mind will go to the negative with that. But radical compassion, oh, that's interesting. That's a little bit different. Radically compassionate. And what the book is talking about is saying that, you know, we can awaken ourselves to becoming radically compassionate people, being radically compassionate towards yourself, and being radically compassionate towards other people? It's an interesting concept, isn't it? How much compassion do you practice in your daily life towards yourself? I've been uh, I've been working on being more compassionate towards myself the last few years, just being a bit kinder to myself, you know, not being as judgmental. Because it's easy to do. It's easy to do. You do something and then you have an automatic autoplay response in your mind. Your mind says something to you. You know, it's on autoplay. And if it's something negative, that's when that's when it's time to catch it and say, okay, what is this thing? What is this thing that I'm saying about myself that's negative here? And just reframing it. Louise Hay, of Hay House Productions, wrote in her book "You Can Heal Your Body," which is a fantastic book, by the way. I definitely recommend it. And she says, when you have a negative thought about yourself, it's very easy for you to be on autoplay and just keep on repeating this thought over and over again. But if you can catch yourself having that negative thought and you can reframe it, if you can subvert it, so if you catch yourself saying something negative, the classic one for me used to be that I would tell myself that I was a bad speller, but not anymore. Not anymore. No, no. Now what I do is I say, well, I used to be a bad speller, but I'm not anymore because I make a point of checking spellings 5, 6, 7, 8 times before I write a word in a text message or in an email or in a social media post, for the radio station, for example. I make a point of checking it, 8, 9, 10 times even to make sure I'm spelling it correctly. And that's a classic example of changing, reframing a thought. Reframing a thought. By the way, folks, this is the book Radical Compassion. I'll just show you there. Radical Compassion. It's a brilliant book. I highly recommend it. I've only started reading it now. I'm only on the first chapter and it's already grabbed me. The front cover says learning to love yourself and your world and the practice of rain. The practice of rain. Now, I'm sure you're curious, what does rain stand for? I'm going to tell you what rain stands for after this short break. So please join us then for more art and spirituality. We'll be right back.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
The Art and Spirituality Show. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me today and this cold, quite cold today, the 30th of November in London. What are you up to? Are you being compassionate with yourself? Are you loving yourself? Tara Brach says we have to practice radical compassion, learning to love yourself and your world with the practice of rain. The practice of rain. Now, what does RAIN stand for? Well, RAIN stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. She says that we can find healing and freedom through sources of love, courage, and deep wisdom, which is within all of us. These are really big words, aren't they? These are big concepts, big concepts. But yeah, it's I think it's something worth exploring. It's definitely something worth exploring. The more compassionate I am towards myself, the better I feel about myself. The more compassion I have to give out to somebody else. I remember before lockdown, I was working. Actually, I was working at a music event, and I was rushing to work. I was in a rush. I was going through London Bridge, the train. When you know when you get off the train and you make the connection to go onto the underground, you know that kind of tunnel there with all the bricks, with the walls. I was going through there, and I was walking quite fast, and this guy was walking behind me, and he did the classic kind of like step on your heels, but it was quite, it was quite, it wasn't painful, but it was quite abrupt, and it kind of took me by surprise. And my initial reaction was, I kind of turned around, and my initial reaction was, I was gonna, I think I was gonna. My initial reaction was, it was a little bit hostile. I was gonna be a little bit angry. But as I turned around, I saw the look in this guy's eyes, and it was a look of, he was having. You could tell he was having a bad day. You could tell that he was having a one of those days. So as I turned, and he just kind of looked at me, and I looked at him, and I just kind of went, oh, it's okay, it's all right, like, don't worry about it. And he was like, yeah, he's like, thanks, yeah, it's a real struggle today. And it was quite an unusual little interaction that we had. Like, can you imagine, when you're walking through London Bridge, it's so packed there in the morning time. It's like so packed, so many people. It seems on not very common that you're going to have a conversation with someone, and definitely not where you're going to have a conversation with someone and it's going to be, you know this little connection. But we had this little connection, and we had that connection because I was practicing compassion. I was practicing compassion towards him, and and yeah, it enabled that compassion, that it enabled that interaction to happen because of the compassion. If I just been like on the hamster wheel and just like, I've got to get to my job, I've got to get to work, I'm running late, I've got to run, and someone kind of like comes into that, like they come into your world, and you're so focused on where you're going and what you're doing, it's very easy to not be compassionate, I feel. And I think now that I've been reading Radical Compassion, it's really been opening me up to the opportunities and the prospects of, yeah, of how my reality can be. The more compassionate I'm becoming towards myself, the more compassion the more compassionate I've been able to be to, yeah, just to my outer world, to the people I live with, to the people I see, at the radio, to someone I see in the street. It's really kind of really started to open my world up to a different way of thinking and a different way of being. learning to love yourself and your world within the practice of rain. She says, um, it says on the back of the book, world renowned meditation teacher Tara Brach shares a simple 4-step practice to awaken compassion and release the grip of painful emotions. That's nice. Heartfelt and deeply practical, radical compassion teaches us to finding healing and freedom through the sources of love, courage, and deep wisdom alive within us all. Radical compassion lays out a path of straightforward, accessible practices grounded in both modern brain science and ancient wisdom. A masterpiece. Are you intrigued yet? Are you intrigued yet? This is the book. I'm holding it up for you so you can see it. And it came highly recommended from my good friend Tom in Madrid, who teaches mindfulness. So I would definitely recommend that you check it out. Also, another book that I've been reading a lot of recently is, of course, my old favorite. My old favorite. You know the book I'm talking about. I'm just going to show it to the camera. Anyway. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's my good. This is, I mean, you can see how much this book has been read. Just if I show you, if I show you how much it's been read, it's literally, the pages are literally falling out of this book. It's been read that much, and I've underlined various different pieces of it, and it's just a fantastic book on mindfulness and living a more mindful life, which is something which I think, yeah, we it's something that I think we all could be doing if we wanted to be doing it. The more mindful I become, the more um, present I am, and the more I'm in the present moment, the more happier I am. So, yeah, I can definitely recommend this book. I'm going to read you out a small passage of it, and this is just a little bit on concentration. Okay, so if you're ever having trouble concentrating, if you're ever having trouble concentrating, this is what Thich Nhat Hanh says about concentration. It's really, really interesting. He says, joy and happiness are both of concentration. When you're having a cup of tea, the value of that experience depends on your concentration. You have to drink the tea with 100% of your being. True pleasure is experienced in the concentration. When you walk and you are 100% concentrated, the joy you get from the steps you are taking is much greater than the joy you would get without concentration. You have to invest 100% of your body and mind in the act of walking. Then you will experience that being alive and taking steps on the planet are miraculous things. Then you will experience that being alive and taking steps on this planet are miraculous things. The Zen master Linji, also known as Rinzai, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these correctly, it's Rinzai, said, the miracle is walking on the earth, not walking on water or fire. The real miracle is walking on this earth. Why should you not perform a miracle just by walking? A step taken with mindfulness can lead you to the kingdom of God. Well, that's quite a big statement. A step taken with mindfulness can lead you to the kingdom of God. So I like that. I like that. This is possible. You can do it today. Life is too precious for us to lose ourselves in our ideas and concepts. I really like that. Life is too precious for us to lose ourselves in our ideas and concepts, in our anger and our despair. We must wake up to the marvelous reality of life. We must begin to live fully and truly every moment of our daily lives. When you are holding a cup of tea in your hand, do it while being 100% there. You know how to do this. One deep in breath, one gentle out breath, and the body and mind come together. You are truly there, absolutely alive, fully present. This only takes 10 or 15 seconds, and suddenly the tea reveals itself to you in all its splendor and wonder. When I pick up a book or open a door, I want to invest myself in this act 100%. This is what I learned during my monastic training when my teacher taught me how to offer a stick of incense. A stick of incense is very small and very light, yet the way the right way to hold it is with two hands. When offering the incense, you have to invest 100% of your being in your hands and in two of your fingers. The energy of mindfulness must be concentrated there. This may look like a ritual, but it is really an act of concentrated awareness. I put my left hand on my right hand, and during this time, I concentrate 100%. The incense is an offering to the Buddha, but does the Buddha really need incense? This is actually an offering of peace, of joy, and of concentration. Words of wisdom from this man. I recommend this book. It's what I love about this book is it's the pocket version. So literally, you can take this in your bag with you, and you can have it with you. You can have it in your jacket pocket, and it's nice and small. You can just take it out, and you can read a little something like that. And it's like something that Trisha was saying actually. She was saying how she's read all these self-help books. She's read them all. She knows all the information, but she hasn't. She needs reminding of them, and it's the same with mindfulness. I've read all these mindfulness books for a long time, but it's nice to get the memory of them. It's nice to be reminded of them, right? Are you reading any mindfulness books at the moment? Do you practice mindfulness? Are you a meditator? Do you meditate? This is the Art and Spirituality Show. It's Monday, the 30th of November, and we're talking art and spirituality. We had Tricia Audette on the show today, Canadian comedian. Great to talk to her, and you can check out all her links. We'll have all of her links on there. And this Wednesday, by the way, we're going to be joined via phone by a Spanish comedian, Jorge Segura, who's a famous Spanish comedian. He's going to be joining us by phone on Wednesday, so we're excited for that. I was talking last week, actually, I was talking about a particular stand-up comedy course that you can do with a certain Mr. Logan Murray. Well, folks, on the back of that, I went out and I bought the book. That was great, wasn't it? I bought the book. I bought the book. I went out and I got it. And it's brilliant. It really, really is brilliant. I read the last two versions of this book. This is the latest edit of it. Get started in stand-up comedy. It's called Make 'Em Laugh, and it's by Logan Murray. And I really, really recommend this book. It's literally like a kind of a how-to for comedy. If you're a comedian or if you're an aspiring comedian, it says it's the handbook for all budding comedians, a fully revised and updated new edition of this groundbreaking guide to stand-up comedy. It's got insider insights from famous stand-ups. It's got Finag or host your own comedy club, dealing with hecklers, something that I don't have to deal with on this show. I never get heckled. Never, 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 never been heckled on this radio show. Hey, if you want to heckle me, if you want to interact with this show in any way, shape, or form, you can give a call or a text message on 078 52 473 473. Not necessarily with a heckle, please, but if you have any input that you want to make, I'd love to hear from you. Of course, I would love to hear from you. And yeah, this book is brilliant. I started reading it again. I'm just I'm on back to chapter 3 at the moment, but it's cool because he gives you these like writing exercises to do, and they're fantastic for developing material. And even if you're a writer, even if you're a writer and you're looking to get writing and you're curious about what would I write about, this is brilliant because it gives you these different writing exercises that you can do, and you just really start to hash out material, hash out stories, hash out jokes, and he really breaks down the mechanics of a joke, which is a pretty important thing to know. It says, join 60 million people who have reached their goals with Teach Yourself. These are the Teach Yourself editions of books. They are fantastic, I have to say. They're really, really good. I was talking last week. If you tune into the show last week, you would have heard me talking to photographer and comedian Steve Best. Yes, who heard that show last week? Steve Best joined me via phone, and Steve Best joined me via phone last week, and I actually, on the back of our conversation, well, I had actually already ordered his books, but they arrived by post, and I started reading them. One of them is called Comedy Snapshot, which came out in 2014. The second one is Joker Face. Here it is. I'll just oh, that was great. Second time I did it, brilliant. This I'll just show that Joker Face. Yeah, I went out, and I got it, and it's I mean it's really really good. I'm just gonna just do a little flick through. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. That's brilliant. Over 450 comedians share their best one-liners. So I can literally I could just open up a random page here. Tom Mullen. Tom Mullen. He started comedy in Essex in 2012. Will we read out his one-liner? The Tom Mullen one-liner. The funny thing is, folks, I really don't know what I'm going to read here because I'm reading these out at random. So this is the best one-liner from Joker Face, from Steve Best Joker Face. The best one-liner from Tom Mullen, a comedian who started out in Essex in 2012. He says, I was recently rejected for Mastermind due to my specialist subject. Questions that require the answer yes. Oh, slice of genius right there. I'm going to do another one here. I've got Spring Day. Spring Day. Spring Day. She says that she started out doing stand up at the Tokyo Comedy Store in September 2001. Whew, that's going back. That is going back. Let me see if I can read out her one-liner. I'm literally, folks, I'm reading these things. Wow. I'm reading these things. I'm reading them totally randomly, and I've just had an amazing synchronicity thing happen, which I'm going to tell you about in one moment. But let me read out. Spring Day's best one-liner. Okay, here we go. I think it's okay to read this out, so I'm going to read it out. I can't control the muscles in my right hand very much. I can give people the finger. It just takes 20 minutes. That's pretty funny. Now, this is the synchronicity moment that I want to tell you about. Literally, I did not know that this person was in this book. You know, there's over 450 comedians in this book, and I did not know that this person was going to be in this book. I met this comedian. I met him in Madrid. He's a comedian, very funny guy. Originally from Melbourne in Australia. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show a photo of him so you can see who I'm talking about. The guy I'm talking about is this comedian here. Okay, this guy here. Now the funny thing is that I didn't know he was in this book, and I literally was just second flick, and I've landed on him. Imani Hajichi is his name. Very funny comedian, and this is his best one-liner. If a philosophy student sits in the woods and figures out the meaning of life, and there is nobody around to hear it, should I have studied law? Yes, Iman. I can't believe, Iman, that you're in this book. This is insane. I'm going to send you a copy of today's show, and I'm going to tag you in it. I'm going to do a Facebook post, and I'm going to tag you in this post. It's going to be amazing. He says, my great-grandfather was a Titanic survivor. Ooh, wow. That's interesting. So yeah, check out this book. Check out this book. What shall I do? One more? I'll do one more and then I'll move on. Okay, here we go. We've got Andrew Doyle. Andrew Doyle here. Andrew Doyle. Okay. My first stand-up gig was in 2003. I was in a sketch show and the running time was 10 minutes too short, so I filled the gap by attempting stand-up. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. He says, this is his best one line. I'm not homophobic. Most of the men I've slept with have been gay. Oh, that's good. That is good. So yeah, check out this book. It's really, really good. It's called Joker Face. I'll just show it to you again. Joker Face. It's by Steve Best, and it's just a brilliant book. It's 450 comedians from the London circuit. I guess this book was published in 2017, so it's from the circuit then. So yeah, but there's some really, I mean, there's some brilliant ones in there, and yeah, you've got like it's just a huge selection of different comedians in there, from Jimmy Carr, John Bishop, Mackenzie Crook, Mark Watson, Tommy Tiernan, of course the Irish comedian there, Phil Jupitus, and like there's just a huge selection, and it's really good. You know, it's great. It's a great book to dip into and have a bit of a read, of some one-liners, which is always fun to do, right? So join me on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be Jorge Segura. He's going to be joining me via phone, and that will be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. As always, you can please follow the show on Relax Radio. Feel free to download the app. We've got the Relax Radio app that you can download, and that means that you can listen to the show anywhere, anytime on the app if you have internet. So yeah, that's quite good. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Please join us then. Thanks so much.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
The Art and Spirituality Show. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Hope you're enjoying the show today. been a great show. I've definitely enjoyed being here. It's been great to interview my good old friend Tricia Audette, Canadian comedian, actress, producer, entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur, really. And what I really like about Tricia's work ethic is that she's always creating. She's always looking for the next project, and she always has a vision board or her journal, as she says. Do you guys use vision boards? Are you aware of vision boards? Do you have goals? How do you how do you plan for what you want to show up in your life? That's my real big question, I suppose. I've always used a vision board. I've been using them now for 10 years. And one of the things that I had on my vision board when I moved to London in September 2019 was working on the radio. And yeah, we can see how that worked out. Here I am on the radio doing my internship. We're coming up to the end of my internship actually, so it's been quite a journey, quite a journey. I want to say a big thank you to Relax Radio for giving me the opportunity to learn, and to learn something new, and to push myself out of my comfort zone. And am I comfortable now? I think I'm more comfortable now than I was probably like nearly 3 months ago. But these things take time, and it's so important to have a vision board or to have a plan about what it is that you want to do. Especially if you're passionate about something, are you going to put energy into it? Are you going to study it? What are you going to do? What's going to be your plan? I was talking to an old friend of mine from Wexford today, Gina. She's contributed to the show with some questions in the past, and she might even be a guest on the show in the new year. She's a visual artist and makeup artist based in Ireland, and we were talking about art and things like that. And she was saying, yeah, I didn't have time. I just didn't have time to put the energy into my art when she was working in a particular job. It took up so much of her time that she just didn't have the time to put into her artwork. And then she changed jobs, and she had a daughter, and then she found herself with more time to devote to her art. And I think that's what can happen, right? When we get so kind of wrapped up in the kind of the everyday, we can lose track of the things that we really want to do, the things that we're really passionate about. I mean, I do this radio internship and it's fantastic, and I'm super grateful for it. And I'm also an actor, and I'm also a comedian. But I've got to pay the bills as well, right? I've got to pay the rent, and until I strike that golden rainbow, I still have to pay my rent. And one of the things I do is I work in retail. So yeah, and I remember from the past when I was working in retail and sales and stuff like that before, never having the motivation to do anything creative when I got home from working in retail or working in sales, because I was so kind of stressed out by my day job. Then to kind of put energy into creating just was so difficult, so difficult. And it wasn't until I started taking time on a Saturday and actually devoting time to doing an acting course that I started to realize, oh, yeah, it's actually really important to take time out and to devote time to something that I'm passionate about. And actually, what happened was the more time that I started allocating for the things that I was passionate about, the more happier I became. And the more I started to realize that I didn't really necessarily want to be working in retail anymore. And now I say that now, and I'm still working in retail, but I think the real bottom line is that now I'm doing this radio show. I'm on here twice a week, so I get to talk to all of you lovely people, all of you beautiful people, my wonderful, fabulous listeners who contribute with questions. Like we had a question from Jen in California today, a question for Tricia Audette, our guest on today's show. And we've had other questions as well from other listeners in Ireland and from other listeners in the UK. And yeah, so, now that I'm doing this radio show and I do my acting courses, I'm doing an acting course at the moment with the acting habit with Manuel Puro. I'm doing a 5-day feedback course with the casting director Lucy Lennox. So I'm doing that at the moment. And then I'm also doing, I did a stage combat course. I did that as well. And, I tell you all these things because these are things that I'm passionate about, right? They're not necessarily things that I'm perhaps working in at the moment, but there are things that I'm passionate about. The more, the more time that I spend doing these things and studying these things, the more happier I become. So it's been a real lesson. It's been a real life lesson. Learning to spend more time on myself and put more energy into things that I'm passionate about. And as a result of that, I've become happier, really. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there to the world, and it can be anything. I mean, one of the things that I started doing, I guess it was over a year ago now that I started the lessons, but I've been playing harmonica for about 5 years, but I'd never had any lessons, and I started taking lessons when I moved to London in September 2019. I started taking lessons in harmonica, and you know what? I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was just for I think it was for 2 hours every Saturday morning, and it was brilliant. Like it was just so brilliant. I felt amazing, like just playing harmonica. It wasn't very good. It was like beginner's class, right? So it was like basic stuff. But I just really enjoyed it. I really really enjoyed it. And you know what? It really started to raise my vibration. The more I started putting energy into things that I was passionate about, the more my vibe went up, the happier I became, and the more motivated I was with life and things. And probably as well, the easier it was for me to do other types of jobs that I didn't necessarily want to do, but I needed to do so I could pay my rent, like retail or like working in music festivals and things like that. So yeah, that's my big takeaway from today is concentration, doing things 100%, getting into the present moment, uh, you know, practicing radical compassion towards yourself, and then being able to practice radical compassion towards other people. These are unprecedented times. These are, we're living through what some people are describing as an apocalyptic world right now. So this is really the time to be compassionate, to be loving to ourselves, to find something that we're passionate about and giving energy to that subject, whatever it may be, whether it's, learning to play an instrument, maybe you're learning a new language, or maybe you just, yeah, maybe you just want to get a book about a book about jokes. Get a book about one-liners and read about some of the best comedians, and randomly open on a page of one of your friends who you didn't even know was in the book. How cool is that? It's all possible. It's all possible. I'm Dominic Anglim. This has been the Art and Spirituality Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you if you have just tuned in, or if you're joining us via the live stream, or maybe you're not joining us live, but you've heard the show today and you've said, oh, this is great. I've enjoyed this show. Maybe you want to leave us a comment on any of our platforms. We're on the Facebook. We're on YouTube. I know that we're streaming on Twitch and things like that as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out, and we'll definitely get back in contact with you. And yeah, hopefully you can join us on Wednesday. Wednesday we're going to have Jorge Segura is going to be joining us via phone. Famous Spanish comedian. He'll be joining us on Wednesday, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. is of course the time for the show. So yeah, be good to yourself, love yourself, practice compassion, practice radical compassion towards yourself and towards other people. And until Wednesday, we'll speak again. Thanks for tuning in today. Talk again soon.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট is 4 times more powerful than any other